Have you ever watched a woman smile at you, then suddenly turn cold the moment you show too much interest? Or maybe you felt that moment where you gave everything, attention, effort, clarity, and instead of being appreciated, you were pushed away? Most men experience this and walk away confused, frustrated, defeated. But here's the truth, most guys never learn. Getting what you want from women isn't about being the nicest guy, the richest man, or even the most handsome. It's about understanding what really drives female behavior. And once you know that, it becomes almost unfair. I'm talking about walking into a room and knowing, within seconds, how to capture her attention. And more importantly, how to hold it. Because attraction is not about luck, it's a skill. A learnable, repeatable skill. And today, we're diving deep into how you can use that skill to get what you want from women 99.9% of the time. Now, before you raise your eyebrow, let me be clear. This isn't about manipulation, games, or pretending to be someone you're not. This is about power. The kind of power that comes from inner confidence, calibrated communication, and understanding how to flip the psychological switches that women aren't even aware of. Let me tell you something Neil Strauss figured out early in the game. Women don't choose men based on logic. They choose based on emotion, feeling, vibe, and if you don't know how to create those emotions in her, you lose even if you check all the boxes. Now here's where most men mess it up. They show too much too soon. They pedestalize her before she earns it. They play it safe. They try to impress her with what they have, instead of making her feel something real. And women are emotional creatures. They don't want a checklist, they want a journey. So if you want her attention, her desire, her loyalty, you need to become the man who leads her on that journey. Not with money, not with looks, but with psychological mastery. And it starts with the first law of high-level seduction. Women respond to how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you, not how you feel about them. That's why so many nice guys finish last. They're too focused on showing their feelings and not focused enough on creating hers. Here's a simple example. Instead of complimenting her beauty, which she's heard 1,000,000 times, subtly challenge it. Say something like, "You have that dangerous kind of pretty, the one guys regret too late." It creates tension. It makes her wonder what you're seeing in her. That emotional spike? That's what she craves. Mystery. One of the godfathers of seduction and mentor to Neil Strauss taught this dynamic as push-pull. You create intrigue by being warm and distant, teasing and praising, connecting and withdrawing, all in calibrated doses. Why? Because tension is addictive. And when done right, she becomes hooked, not on you, but on how she feels around you. Another crucial principle: never chase. When you chase, you signal lower value. It communicates that you want something from her more than she wants from you. That imbalance kills attraction. Women don't chase men who seek validation. They chase men who create it internally. And that leads us to one of the most overlooked yet powerful seduction switches: dominant self-control. I'm not talking about controlling her. I'm talking about controlling yourself. Your emotions, your reactions, your tempo. A man who stays centered, who doesn't flinch when tested, who smiles when she tries to push him. That's rare. And in the world of dating, rare equals irresistible. You've probably heard of shit tests. These are those little games women play to see where you stand. She cancels plans last minute. She mentions her ex. She teases you. Most guys get defensive, offended, or insecure. But the man who passes these tests? He laughs it off. He makes a clever remark. He flips the frame back in his favor. He doesn't react. He leads. And leadership is everything. Whether you're on a date, texting her late at night, or in a room full of people, the man who leads emotionally controls the frame. That means you decide the vibe, you decide the energy, and she will subconsciously calibrate herself to your state. The next time you walk into a room, don't look around to see who likes you. Assume they already do. Bring the energy like you're the main character. Don't fake confidence, generate it. Because confidence is not the absence of doubt, it's the decision to move anyway. Now, there's another powerful piece we need to bring in here: the illusion of choice. Women want to feel like they're choosing you, even when you're the one directing everything. That means you never beg, you never pressure, you offer, you tease, you invite, but you never need. The moment you need her to say yes, you've already lost. This is where so many guys fail. They ask for approval. They wait for permission. But the man who gets what he wants, 99.9% of the time, doesn't ask if she wants him. He lets her discover that she does. And that's the key. We'll keep going deeper into these psychological triggers, the ones that bypass logic and hit straight to her core. But first, let this idea burn into your mind. She doesn't fall for what you do. She falls for how you make her feel. And if you can master that, you'll never chase again. Now let's talk about something almost no one teaches, yet it makes all the difference between being the guy she talks to and the man she obsesses over. It's called emotional contrast. Most men are predictable. They either stay too safe and agreeable, or they try to be edgy and dominant all the time. But women, especially high-value, emotionally intelligent women, aren't drawn to monotony. They crave contrast, depth, layers. Think about a roller coaster. The thrill isn't just the speed, it's the up and down, the anticipation, the drop. Seduction works the same way. If you're always charming and smooth, she gets used to it. There's no spark, no surprise. But if you can shift gears, playful one moment, serious the next, attentive now, then mysteriously distracted later, you trigger her emotions on multiple levels. And emotions, not logic, are what build deep sexual tension. This is where calibrated unpredictability comes in. You're not playing games, you're showing her that you're multidimensional, that you're a man with a life, moods, intensity, a man who's not just trying to win her over but living in his own world, letting her glimpse into it. That glimpse is key. Because when you give her just enough to taste what it's like to be desired by you, but not enough to fully own you, you become her mental obsession. She starts thinking about you when you're not around. She replays your words, your pauses, your silences. That's what gets under her skin in the best possible way. And it brings us to another advanced principle: restraint as seduction. Too many men think seduction is about escalation, physical moves, pushing the interaction forward. But true power? It's in restraint, knowing when not to kiss her, when to end the date first, when to stop texting, even when you know she's waiting for your message. Why does that work? Because it amplifies your perceived value. Restraint shows discipline, and discipline signals abundance. It tells her, I don't need this moment to define me. I have options. I have standards. I choose when and how I connect. Women feel this on a primal level. A man who isn't overeager stands out, especially in a world where most guys rush, overcommit, and reveal too much too soon. Now let's go deeper. Ever heard of implied authority? This isn't about telling her what to do. It's about the energy you carry that suggests you're in control, even if you say nothing at all. It shows in the way you order at a restaurant, the way you handle uncomfortable situations, how you take up space without apologizing for it. Women pick up on this instinctively. It tells her, this man knows who he is. And when a woman feels safe in your self-certainty, she'll relax her defenses and open herself more than she ever would for a man who needs her approval. Now, let me introduce something from the world of neuro-linguistic programming that Neil Strauss incorporated into his work: anchoring. Anchoring is the psychological technique of linking an emotion to a specific word, touch, or moment. When used naturally, it creates a powerful feedback loop. For example, let's say you make her laugh while lightly touching her arm. Do that a few times during fun moments, and soon, that touch alone will trigger those good feelings, even if the moment isn't funny. You become her source of certain emotions. And when you're the source, she comes back again and again, looking for the hit. Like a drug, but in the best way possible. There's a darker truth here, though, and very few men are ready to hear it. Women are not attracted to potential. They're drawn to presence. You could have dreams, ambition, a great plan for the future, but if your energy isn't grounded now, if your vibe isn't felt in the moment, she'll sense the void. Women are tuned into presence. It's the way you breathe when you speak, the way you hold eye contact without rushing, the way you listen without trying to impress. Presence is what creates polarity. It's what makes her feminine energy respond to your masculine certainty. A man fully present doesn't seek validation. He's not chasing a reaction, he's immersed. And that immersion is magnetic. It's what makes her feel like time slows down when she's around you. Remember, most men are either too caught in their heads, overthinking their next move, or stuck in the past trying to prove their worth. But you become the man who lives here, now. And when she feels that, she drops her filters. She leans in. She wants more. Let me tell you a quick story. One of Neil Strauss's students, an average guy, nothing flashy, once approached a woman at a bar with zero pickup lines. No jokes, no clever remarks. He just sat down, looked her in the eye, and said, "You have this energy, like you're pretending to enjoy being here, but your mind is somewhere else." She froze, then smiled, then said, "How do you see that?" What happened in that moment? He felt her. He wasn't performing. He wasn't trying to be charming. He was tuned in, present, emotionally aware, and that alone flipped the switch. So here's what you need to understand. Seduction isn't about having the perfect line or perfect timing. It's about emotional precision. Reading her energy, responding, not reacting. Creating the kind of emotional experience that no other man has given her. Because that's what leaves a mark. That's what makes her crave more, even if she doesn't understand why. And the best part? You don't have to fake any of this. You develop it, like a muscle. Through experience, awareness, and by staying grounded in who you are while exploring who she is. Let's keep going. There's more to uncover, layers that most men never even consider. But if you're ready, I'll show you how to keep her invested, how to make her qualify herself to you, and how to flip the power dynamic completely in your favor without ever saying it out loud. There's a shift that happens when you stop viewing women as something to win and start seeing them as something to influence. Not by pressure, not by pretending, but by becoming the gravitational force they naturally orbit. Let's talk about frame control. Most men enter interactions already in her frame. They react to her behavior. They try to meet her expectations. They seek permission, subtly or directly. But a high-value man doesn't enter her frame. He creates his own, and she enters it willingly. Frame isn't just mindset, it's atmosphere. It's the invisible world you invite her into, where you define the rules, the tone, and the meaning behind everything that happens. And when your frame is strong, women feel it instantly. It shows in your tone, your pauses, your calm, your certainty. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're on a date. She makes a sarcastic remark, trying to test you. The average guy might laugh nervously or defend himself, but you look her in the eye, smirk, and say, "Careful. That almost sounded like flirting." You've just reframed the moment in your favor. She thought she was testing you, but now she's playing your game. That's the art. You shift the meaning, you flip the dynamic, and in doing so, you establish yourself as the one she wants to impress. This isn't about dominance. It's about emotional leadership. The ability to hold your reality so powerfully that she gets curious about what it's like to live in it. Now let's take it further. One of the deepest ways to draw a woman in is through emotional storytelling. But not the typical, "Let me tell you about my life" type. I'm talking about stories that evoke feelings in her. Stories where she can place herself inside the frame of the experience you're painting. When you share a memory with vivid detail, how it smelled, how it felt, what it meant, you're not just talking, you're triggering her imagination. And once a woman's imagination is involved, her emotions follow. This creates a connection far stronger than logic or facts ever could. Want an example? Instead of saying, "I love nature," you say, "Last month I went hiking alone in the mountains. There was this one spot, completely silent except for the wind and my breath. I sat on a rock watching the sun cut through the trees and I thought, this is what peace really feels like." Suddenly, you've taken her there. She's feeling it with you. She's sensing that depth, that presence, that stillness. And whether she realizes it or not, she's becoming emotionally entangled with your world. But let's bring this back to results, because this isn't just poetic fluff. A woman who feels emotionally seen, mentally stimulated, and physically comfortable around you will open herself up to your influence. She'll want to align with you, she'll mirror you, she'll start adapting her energy to yours, often without realizing she's doing it. Here's where it gets even more powerful. Reciprocal investment. Most guys give too much without receiving anything. But you create a dynamic where she invests. You subtly challenge her. You tease her to open up. You get her talking, revealing, qualifying herself to you. When she invests, even just a little, her attraction grows. It's basic psychology. We value what we put effort into. That's why one of the smartest things you can say on a date is, "I'm curious. What makes you different from the other women I've met lately? It's not a compliment, it's a challenge. And in that challenge, she begins to reflect, to qualify, to earn your interest. That's the reversal. That's when the game changes. Because here's the truth most guys don't want to accept. Attraction is not something you earn by pleasing a woman. It's something you command by being a man who sets the pace and doesn't need her validation. Now, let's touch on something crucial that too many men skip. State control. Your emotional state is contagious. If you're anxious, she'll feel tense. If you're grounded, she'll feel safe. If you're playful, she'll open up. But if you need her response to feel good about yourself, she'll sense the neediness and pull away. You must become source energy. That means you generate the vibe. You set the emotional tone, and she adjusts. This isn't theory. This is what's happening beneath the surface in every interaction. And the fastest way to master this? Practice being unreactive. The next time she tests you, smile. The next time she pulls away, lean back, not forward. The next time she's silent, let it hang. Silence, when owned with confidence, is one of the most powerful seduction tools there is. Because most men fill every gap with noise, nervous chatter, over-explaining, approval-seeking. But you let the moment breathe. You know that tension isn't something to fear, it's something to wield. And this leads into another elite-level concept, sexual sub-communication. You don't seduce her by talking about sex. You seduce her by how you look at her, how you pause before speaking, how your eyes drop to her lips, then back to her eyes. Slowly. It's the micro-behaviors that scream, I see you, I want you, but only if you can handle it. You're planting seeds, creating inner conflict. She starts thinking, is this in my head? Or is he really looking at me like that? And once she starts questioning her own thoughts about you, the game is yours. Why? Because now she's chasing emotional certainty, the very thing you've stopped seeking from her. And that shift in dynamic is what flips her entire desire system upside down. You've become the prize, the enigma, the experience she can't quite figure out, but doesn't want to stop feeling. And guess what? We're still just scratching the surface. Let's talk about emotional pacing, the art of controlling the rhythm of your interactions. Most guys go either too slow and get friend-zoned, or too fast and get rejected. But a seductive man knows how to manage the tempo. He builds momentum, then pulls back, only to reignite it again. Think of it like music. Too much intensity without pause becomes noise. But when you add silence, timing, rhythm, you create a symphony she can't stop listening to. So how do you apply this? Simple. Don't always be available. Don't always answer right away. And more importantly, don't always escalate. Sometimes just holding the moment is enough. Looking at her a second longer, laughing, then saying nothing. These micro-pauses create a sense of unpredictability, anticipation, and depth. When a woman doesn't know what's coming next, but she's emotionally safe with you, she becomes fully present. And that's when she begins to attach. Now, let's add another layer. Identity-based attraction. You see, most men try to impress women with what they do, cars, stories, achievements. But that fades. What doesn't fade is identity. Who you are at your core. What you represent. Here's the truth. Women fall for identity alignment. When your values, worldview, and emotional energy match something she secretly desires to experience, she feels drawn. Not because you told her to be, but because her identity begins to synchronize with yours. So instead of trying to be impressive, focus on being polarizing. Stand for something, own your preferences. Be willing to say, that's not really my thing, even if it makes you less agreeable. For example, imagine a girl tells you she loves TikTok dancing. The average guy might say, oh, that's cool, I love that stuff too, just to bond. But the seductive man pauses, smiles slightly and says, not my vibe. I'd rather be in the mountains than scrolling endlessly. He's not rude, he's just clear. And that clarity creates masculine contrast. She starts seeing him as a man with his own compass, and that's attractive as hell. Now, one of the most underrated tools you can use in seduction is emotional labeling. When a woman shares something vulnerable, or even just random, you label the emotion behind it. Not intellectually, emotionally. She says, ugh, my week was such a mess. You don't say, That sucks. You lean in a bit and say, feels like you've been holding it all together while everything around you tries to fall apart. Boom, she suddenly feels seen, not just heard, but understood. And that creates intimacy faster than any compliment ever could. Women aren't looking for men who solve their problems. They're craving men who feel their world, then elevate it. This is where we talk about psychological mirroring. Not mimicking behavior, that's beginner level. I'm talking about mirroring her emotional cadence. If she's passionate and expressive, you meet her there. If she's soft and quiet, you match her rhythm with grounded calm. Then, when you've earned enough trust, you lead her state. You gradually raise the emotional frequency and she follows. That transition is deeply bonding. She won't even realize it consciously, but something inside her will say, I don't know why, but I feel more alive around this man. Let's go deeper still. Most men don't realize this, but your ability to tolerate and hold emotional intensity determines how far she'll go with you. What do I mean? The average guy gets nervous when a woman starts crying, getting passionate, or expressing deep fears or desires. He changes the topic, he makes a joke, he breaks the moment. But the seductive man stays there, present, breathing, unshaken. He lets her intensity rise, and instead of reacting, he holds it, containing it like a rock in a storm. And that makes her feel safe to surrender. When you become the man who can handle all of her, not just the cute, flirty parts, but the wild, emotional, unpredictable depths, she sees you as more than a lover. She sees you as a force. And with that, we enter the realm of non-verbal seduction. Words are useful, but energy never lies. The way you walk into a room, the way you place your hand on her lower back, the way your body faces her or doesn't, the way your eyes move slowly across her face, not scanning, but anchoring. If you can master your body language, open, grounded, and slow, you'll trigger her feminine instincts without saying a word. Women notice posture, pace, tension. They feel whether you're comfortable in your skin or performing for approval. And when your body speaks confidence without force, everything changes. Now, let's talk about sexual energy. Sexual energy isn't in the act, it's in the charge, the tension. The moment where neither of you touches, but both of you feel the electricity rising. Most men rush this. They try to move things forward before the energy has built. But the seductive man lets it simmer. Sometimes that means holding eye contact a little longer. Sometimes it's touching her wrist and then pulling away, watching her reaction. Sometimes it's whispering something subtle and walking off, leaving her in a state of emotional curiosity. When you master this, women don't just want you, they crave you. And they'll pursue you not because you're the most alpha or the most wealthy, but because you awaken parts of them no one else does. And finally, here's a core truth most men miss. You don't get what you want from women by convincing them. You get it by embodying the experience they want to have. Be the man who lives fully, who leads with calm certainty, who doesn't ask, "Do you like me?" but makes her wonder, "Why do I like him so much?" That's how you become unforgettable. Now, if you've made it this far, you're not like most guys. Most men quit after the first rejection. Most men stop learning once they get a little attention. But you've kept listening. You've paid attention. You've taken the red pill, and now you see that getting what you desire from women 99.9% of the time has nothing to do with tricks, money, or some lucky genetic lottery. And everything to do with powerfully embodying your masculine edge. You've seen how emotional leadership beats logical explanation. How frame, presence, and tension, when mastered, make you unforgettable. And how real seduction begins not with her, but with you. But don't just sit on this knowledge. Apply it. Try it the next time you talk to a woman, the next time you walk into a room, the next time you feel the urge to prove yourself. Don't. Pause. Lean back. Let your energy speak before your words ever do. And remember, every interaction is a test, not of how good you are at getting women, but how solid you are in your core. Now I have a challenge for you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what was the moment in this video that shifted something inside you? What idea hit you hard? What realization made you stop and say, "Damn, this is what I've been missing"? I read every single one. And if this resonated with you, if you're done chasing, if you're ready to be the one who gets chosen, then share this video with a brother, a friend, someone who needs to hear this. Because the more men we help wake up to this, the less we'll see of desperation. And the more we'll see of grounded, powerful masculinity. Make sure you're subscribed because what's coming next will take you even deeper. And if you're serious, really serious, about becoming the kind of man women don't just want, but remember for the rest of their lives, then this is just the beginning. I'll see you in the next video. Stay dangerous, stay deliberate, and above all, never chase, lead.